Hey guys, I thought I'll create a video on how to create an AWS account for development purposes. So we'll look into how to create a root user, how to create IAM users, how to manage the permissions for these users, and also how to add MFA. So I think let's just jump right into it. So to sign up for a new account, you want to head to the aws.amazon.com and click on the create an AWS account button in the top right corner. Okay, so first we're going to create a root user. Think of it as an admin user. It has unrestricted access and permissions to perform any action within the AWS environment. So you're going to need an email address and choose a name for your account. Once you submit the form, you'll receive a verification code via email, and after that you'll be able to set your password. In the next step, you'll be asked for some contact information, address, phone, number, and so on. For this tutorial, I'm also choosing to go for personal account type, but you might also want to select business if that's your situation. In the next step of the sign up process, you'll be asked to confirm your identity again. This time you'll receive a text message on the phone number. After that, you'll be presented with the choices of support plan. For this tutorial, I will choose basic support plan and click on complete sign up button. So now you created your root user account, and you'll be able to log in with the credentials you chosen in the previous steps. So you can use the button we see on the screen, which will take you to the AWS Management Console login page. Now choose root user, type in your email address, click next, type in your password and click sign in. So now you're successfully logged in to the AWS Management Console, and the first thing you want to do is you want to create a new user, but this time it will be so-called IAM user. The way you do this is via a service called IAM. If you go to the search bar and type in IAM, you'll see IAM in the services list, and you can also star it for easier access for the future, and then just click on users. And it's important to know that the root user should be used for administrative tasks only, as it poses security risks if it's compromised, and AWS strongly recommends that you don't use the root user for everyday tasks, and instead you should create individual IAM users with appropriate permissions for specific tasks or roles. And so the way you do that, click on the create user, choose username, and because I'm going to use this account for development purposes, I'm also going to check the provide user access to the AWS console checkbox. And I'm going to set a custom password. I can uncheck the last checkbox. Okay, so you can click the next button. Can add a user to the group if you want to, or you can just proceed with next button. Then you can add the tags if needed and proceed with create user button. So on this page you can either email the sign-in instructions if you want to, or you can also download them as a CSV file. It's important to know that you won't be able to download this file once you leave this page. And then you can also grab the customized sign-in link which can be used by IAM users to sign into console. I'll just store it in the blank browser tab for now, but you can also bookmark it. So you created your IAM user. What I like to do and recommend to do is also create a multi-factor authentication for the user. So you can choose a device name, let's say phone in this example. I'll go with Authenticator app, but you also have other options, as you can see. Here you can see your Authenticator app QR code, and you'll be required to type in 2 of the authentication codes below. So now when you added the MFA, let's try to sign into this IAM account. So you first need to sign out from our root account. Now you can use the console link which you copied previously, fill in the username and password, and when you click on sign in, you'll be required to verify your sign in via your Authenticator app, and then you can click submit and you'll be signed in as a IAM user now. You can try to visit any service in the console and you'll see the access denied message, and that's because we created an IAM user but we actually didn't give that user any permission to, interact with any services yet. So let's try to go to S3, for example, and you can see the same thing happening here too. So this is also one of the advantages of having IAM users, because you can control the access to specific features and services within AWS per user individually. Let's try to give some permissions to this user, and to do that we have to sign out and sign back in as a root user. Let's go back to sign in page, switch to the root user, type in our credentials, and also guys, obviously set your MFA for your root user as well. I'm not doing it in this example, but please make sure you do that and do it for all of your accounts, please. So let's go to the IAM service again. Let's go to users, click on our IAM user, and here you can see the button which says add permissions. Now this is really up to you and your organization how you want this set up. You can either attach the policies directly, or you can also create a group for each user type in your app and create the permission based on the group your user is part of. So maybe let's create an example group here. Let's say we have a number of developers working or something, and we want to give them the same set of permissions within AWS. You can add a group name, and then you can select as many policies as you need, or you can even give them all permissions if you need to. Let's give them permissions to interact with, Amplify, for example. And click on create group. Add our user to the newly created group and click next. Add permissions. Another thing you might want to do is to create access keys for yourselves or other developers, which then can be used to work and interact with tools like AWS CLI or CDK. Note that per user you can only have a maximum of 2 access keys. So let's create some example access key. So we want to create we have a CLI use case. For this tutorial we'll do it this way, but you can also see there's now other alternatives recommended, so please have a look at these two. Click next. You can add tag. I'll call it, I don't know, CLI access key maybe, and then just click on create access key button. Now you will need to either download these values as a CSV file, or you copy and store them somewhere where you'll need them, because again you won't be able to get these values once you leave this page. You can also store them in a credentials file, which is generated by AWS CLI when you're going through your configuration and credential file settings. And I can leave a link in description if you need to learn more about that. You can always deactivate or delete these access keys if situation requires you to do that, and of course you can generate new keys. So here you can see we have our IAM user, MFA assigned. We added the user to the group with permissions and created an access key for them too. So now to verify the permissions and to verify, that their work as expected, we can sign back into that IAM user account using the credentials, MFA, and let's head to the Amplify service maybe, and you can see we are no longer getting that ugly access denied message in this service page. We can also head over to the S3 service and we won't be getting the message here too, because if we go back to the root user one last time, and if we check the permissions we gave to our IAM user via our developers group, you can see there's multiple actions allowed via Amplify admin access policy. So maybe that's also something you want to keep in mind, that there's policies in which if you use these policies, they will also give a number of permissions to the user, and as you can see in this case, it's multiple services which you're giving access to via this policy, and it's not just to Amplify itself. Okay guys, so I'll leave it here. I hope this helped someone. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button if the video was helpful. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.